if you look for a way that he respects in you, if you have a pain as a child and you do everything to prevent that to happen to your baby, but you just be like, yeah, but that's a mom's job, no wonder you don't understand that. Hey guys, what's up? I got another video for you guys today. It's about Nick Cannon. He seems to be an interesting father. He has a way of treating kids, and it was quite surprising when he came with another new special word I never heard about. It seems to be very black or white related, and to justify his action. Let's go.
Nick Cannon!
We here.
Or as the streets say, Nick No Condom Cannon.
That's right. Is that what they say? The fertilizer.
The fertilizer.
I always used to joke around. I was like, I wanted the 12 is that the 12 tribes. Like I was really but somewhere 10 to 12, I wouldn't be
Why
mad
so
at.
many?
You got so many too. I got the beauty of fatherhood, man. When you really talk about like the essence of living in as a father too, man. I've learned so much just from my children, man. Like, and it's so amazing. And I really just love being around my kids and just that youthful energy. It feels like you get to relive every time.
That's interesting. This youthful energy that you can relive anytime. I mean, I can agree with him. There's something beautiful about it, that at the beginning, once you have a kid, at first you don't have that gangster connection. But with time, you start realizing, hey, this human being is almost reacting or replicating the same things I would do. And it is actually a beautiful thing. But the idea that you have to share that time now with 4 other women. He has 4 women, in total 7 kids. You're reliving a lot, but you're not investing. But all the battle they go through, you're never really there for them. They have to share that. Even if you have a family meeting, co-parenting, 4 women, that you have to put that baby at the same table? Nah, man.
All the time. I love that.
And I think because, I've been through so much in my life, physically, mentally, and spiritually, like the best place that I find is the time that I spend with my kids and the energy, and to get as much of that as possible, to pass on, all that I've lived into something else. That's why I do it, man.
It's not the number of kids, though. I guess people question the different baby mothers. That's what
why do people question that? I mean,
because of statistic. The amount of kids that if they don't have their parents, both of them, especially a father, it makes a huge difference. For me as a father, the difference between me and my wife is very clear. It's not that she doesn't do a better job. It's, let's just say that she is more patient with specific stuff, which is a good thing. But at the same time, this patience is not the best thing to apply to different stuff, right? For example, my wife can be very patient, but she says things over and over, hope that the kid reacts. The way I react sometimes is more direct and more scary, but when I tell my son to stop do something, they will stop immediately.
And because that's a Eurocentric concept when you think about the ideas of you're supposed to have this one person for the rest of your life, and really that's just a classified property. Just the idea that a man should have one woman. We shouldn't have anything. I have no ownership over this person. If we're really talking about how we coexist and how we populate, it's about what exchange can we create together. So
no, it wasn't nothing about creating and freaking exchange. It was trying to be a father and build a family, build a safety. It wasn't like, hey, let's go make a baby and that's it. Of course, back in the day, you had somebody, you know what, I left my seed, I left the design on this planet, and they just abandoned the baby because they didn't really care about the result. That's why when people were pillaging, the reward was robbing a bunch of people and get some of the women and leave a seed behind. That was the gangster reward. But for a stable community, there is something. And that is not by planting seed. It's by planting and educate and be there with the kid. It's a different way, but the idea that you live in a gangster beautiful society where you are privileged with your $1 million, where no other man average or above average could have 4 women, ex-woman, and paying alimony. They don't have the money for that, but he has $1 million. Of course he can do it. But to justify it as if it's something, woof, it's normal? Nah. When the statistic come by when the kid starts doing gangster stuff, it's horrible. I had this gangster kid Not asking permission from anybody. I want you. I don't freaking care. The kid jumped. He warned my son once. Pushed him off a ledge. He was like, hey man, I'm gonna jump. My son was like, what do you mean? Well, I warned him. He looked at me. Jumped. Pushed my kid. My kid fell from almost like a meter. Landed right on his tooth. One tooth went up. The other one broke. It was like the tower from Italy. Right? Messed up. This kid, when my son landed and I picked him up. Wait, when my son landed and he was crying, blood everywhere. I had a white shirt, blood everywhere. You know what the kid said to me? He was in the way. He hooked into my leg. I was like, dude, I saw what you did. I saw you push my kid. He tried to grab the ledge. He missed. Bam! He didn't even know what was happening. He was trying to Spider-Man that whole thing. And he Spider-Man it wrong because he did like this. Let me grab something. But the ledge was already here. I'm so happy he didn't even bite his tongue. When the mom came, the mom didn't say anything to the kid. Wow, you have to be careful. You have to be careful. You don't have to be saying that over and over. You need to say something hard. That's why you need a father. But the kid doesn't have a father. Father treat their kids a lot harder than mother in my experience in general. And that helps the kid to be careful about certain consequences. Mother has always that empathy eye, and the empathy eye makes them feel, you know what, I'm privileged. I need that welfare check that you have in your eyes. You can't do that with a kid. But if you don't guide your kids and you just assume, you know what, woman always had the power, I have nothing to add to that. Well, the statistics says that your kid is going to do dumb stuff, do special stuff, and they're going to end up in a very bad situation because they don't know how to take responsibilities. And what he is doing, for me, is not taking any responsibility.
I've never really subscribed to that mentality. You know what I mean? I understand the institution of marriage and stuff, but if we go back to what that was about, that was the classified property. That was because a father gave another man his daughter for land. So when you really get to that concept, it's like, all right, well, we got to change all of this up because I don't want ownership over anybody. I don't have ownership of any of the mothers or like we create families in that sense, and we created a beautiful entity. So
the way he is talking, I can take the worst concept of specific poor people making a bunch of kids, not really taking care of them because they don't have enough money, but they have love, right? Do I take that worst concept to justify an action to change the whole thing? No, I don't want to change the whole thing, because if we want to think like that and take always the most negative thing of anything that is done on this planet, nothing can be done.
Like, you know, I get into it because I don't, you know, those are the concepts that a lot of people, because we're so indoctrinated into it, like, we have to have it this way. I'm not, you know, I don't subscribe to that. I actually think women are blessing us. Those women and all women are the ones that open themselves up to say, I would like to allow this man in my world and I will birth this child. So it ain't my decision. I'm following suit. So
women
I respect that game you running on them ladies. Wow, Nick, that's what you spitting? That's the dream you selling? Wow.
So the women.
No, it's not true. The fact that you laugh like that because you think it's cool, it's quite clear you don't even understand the concept of having a baby, because you believe the only thing you have to provide is a seed and money and everything is Gucci. Having a kid is seeing yourself at level 0, and now you have to educate him. Now you have to be there in the worst or the most beautiful moment. You can't be there for the only beautiful woman. Let's say, for example, after that incident that my child has his tooth pushed up into his meat right in here and he can't get it out, but they don't want to operate it. But whenever he is in a random pain or whatever, I have these heebie-jeebies in my arm because I'm like, oh, what happened? What happened? Not inside. I don't express it because I don't want him to copy that. That's why he has her mom. But when he had all the blood and everybody was panicking, suddenly he only wanted daddy. My wife was like, what? Why? When he's so hurt, he only wants you. He says because he wants peace, stability. Most moms don't understand that. Most people don't understand that. Everybody was flabbergasted, like, why does the baby only want his daddy? Because if you invest in your baby the right way, if you look for a way that he respects in you, If you have a pain as a child and you do everything to prevent that to happen to your baby, but you just be like, yeah, but if that's a mom's job, no wonder you don't understand that. And you only believe, well, I just give my seed, I'm fertilizing. Guys, having a baby is one of the most beautiful things if you invest. But no guy is experiencing that. You know why? Because most people that make a baby, accidental or not, usually break up within the 2 years when the baby has been born. Because the stress is too much for both. You don't even understand why you have the baby. And moms that are alone with the baby, they stress a lot. But they don't tell the baby because it's a beautiful, I don't want to be negative. That's why the baby usually will make another baby. Because mommy told me it's easy. And daddy told me, well, I didn't have to take responsibility, so I can do it too. If you want to live like you're living right now, with the same mentality in the past, like the pop culture from the past, all your babies would have died. Of course, back in the day, if you have a gangster way of living, you have goats, cows and everything, any woman's gonna marry you. Any woman wants to have a baby because you will take care of the baby, so you take care of her so she can take care of the baby, right? It's a benefit situation. That's why you gotta have more than one wife in certain culture. It's normal. But that's why you marry, because you have an obligation. That's why you celebrate the party, because you're gonna invest. You don't compare something from the past and say it's bad, and then you're gonna use it in a very unique way in the future, because in the past, it was normal and now we have to change it. In the past, it was about survival. You're not surviving. You're just having an out of control experience with your seed and be like, I love the youthful when they're growing up.
They know how I feel, and it usually is a concept. Like I'm not going around like who I'm gonna impregnate next. Like, nah, it's usually scenarios and like that's the thing. People say certain things in the public, but when you really look at how a family infrastructure is designed, the woman is the one that always leads and makes the decision.
I agree wholeheartedly. I say that all the time.
Imagine being able to do my hobby, right? And my kid can just pop off whenever he wants. But no, you have 4 women pregnant. You need to share your time. You don't live near any of them, and you have to drive every day to visit one of them. You can't provide the gangster love that you're supposed to. You believe that you're doing that. Mommy might believe, I'm a single woman, I can do everything, I take care of my kids, but wait, it's so hard. I'm like, then why are you freaking doing it? Don't tell me it's easy, but then it's hard. It doesn't make any sense. What I will ask is, what about the kid? Did you ask the kid how the kid feels? If you're doing something that cannot be done in a poor neighborhood, why are you advocating for it? I'm just making babies bada beam, bada boom, bam, bam. And then the black community is the community that has more single moms with gangster kids killing each other. But hey, man, we're not going to think about ways of solving that. I need to live my life.
Say that we had to do some real societal brainwashing to make people believe that men were the actual leaders. Yeah. But just by nature, you can look and see women run everything.
Yeah,
yes, of course. Especially if you don't even have a man that show you how to be a good leader. If you have men that just keeps running out, having pull out action. Well, moms are the best because they had all the power. No, they had to take hard step because you put them in a position that they don't know how to handle it. And at the same time, when they act up all masculine, so gangster defensive, what do? You go marry outside of your own freaking culture. It's like the circle of doom, but they have no choice. Black woman, the most unappreciated in many cultures. And this is like, yeah, but women were always in the power. So you had to follow suit on what they have to decide? I don't think so. If you are there, if you're responsible, a lady will let you make a specific decision if they can trust you. But the thing is, these men usually are very inconsistent. Hola. Just being a daddy. Trust me, if you think that everybody back in the day had a bunch of babies just because they are married, they did it because it was about survival. Babies passed away so easily. They made a bunch of babies. They needed a workforce. They needed a family. They needed ladies to help them if the baby was created. Because if a mom passes away, there wasn't like powder milk that they can just create. There's the breast next door. They worked together. They used each other's breasts. It was a different way of seeing stuff. People back in the day, they didn't care about all the cars and the gems and the beam. They cared about a roof food, the amount of camels that you have, and the babies that are created, take care of all the stuff, and that's it. They just wanted to live comfortable in a very hostile environment. You're not living in a hostile environment like back in the day. So to try to judge what they did back in the day is wrong, and that is something that we need to abolish right now. It's kind of weird. The amount of kids that I go to a beach, I play with my son, and randomly a ball of them playing football lands accidentally at my leg, accidentally, and they want to play with me. Do you know how much that is? Kids hate it that they have to play alone when they don't see a man or a woman that they can identify with. A girl wants to feel like a real princess. A guy wants to have a leader that he can depend on, that he can replicate. If you're not always there and they cannot depend on you and not your money, I think you will create a crate surprisingly different. Don't believe that you as a man cannot give something to a kid, especially when you invest. Take your time. But when you believe that, hey man, there's nothing wrong, and I enjoy how every time I experience and I create a kid, I want to have 12 kids. I don't know, man. I just think you don't have any self-control. Let me know what you guys think about the whole situation. Remember to like, share, and everything. And whew, I don't know. I'm not Eurocentric, and I live in Europe. And trust me, it's not like. Go to Africa then if that is what you believe. Do you really think in Africa they're like, I don't want to be Eurocentric? No, they don't make a bunch of babies because they just don't have the money to do it. If they made it, they did something gangster about it and they disappear.
Don't get me wrong, ma cosa kita bong. Put a fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam jam tur loqueta verdeta welcome.